Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 65 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings and Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by some of my best buddies in the entire world, Noah's. Who the heck is Noah's?
That's me.
Combine Noah and Thomas there. Anyway, Noah, Thomas, and Justin. And gentlemen, how have things been since the last time we talked?
I mean, it's cold in my house. My heater broke down just as this cold spell has rolled into Georgia. So I've got like a heater right there. You can see it just off camera, keeping me alive.
You gotta be careful with those. Anybody has those in the bedrooms, keep them away from the beds. That's how fires start.
Yep.
Yeah. Please don't have a house fire. Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah. But purely hypothetical there. But yeah, it's so funny because we had like fake snow yesterday, 2 days ago, where like it would touch your windshield but immediately melt, and every single one of my coworkers just went berserk, and I'm just like, Southerners just don't know how to handle snow, but you never see it down here, so it's fine.
We should have real snow on Friday, maybe.
On Friday.
Allegedly, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it snows Friday morning, like preferably before I have to get up and go to work. That way I don't have to get up and go to work, but
Fair enough.
we'll see what happens.
Pilot on a power line, take my power out from 8 to 4:30, then promptly get that back, promptly get that right back on. Just that little stretch of time.
Yeah, let's not lose our power during a snowstorm.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Oh yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah, this week's been good actually. We had a armory yesterday, and we had 17 people at it, and it was sweet. I was the one who showed up, like everybody was waiting on me, but when I got there, the store was just packed, and I was just like, oh, there's a lot of people, and it's like pretty much all your normals, or like most of the regulars showed up, but we were actually missing a few, which makes it crazy that it could have been more. But dude, it was such a fun time.
Dude, we're gonna have armories that require top 8. Guy who runs our store is gonna lose his mind eventually.
Yeah. We already keep him there way too late, but we appreciate him a lot.
Yeah, but the craziest thing that happened at the armory last night was that we had a new player show up, and he was brand new to the game, was brought in by one of our other friends, never played before, didn't have a deck of his own. He had to borrow one, and he went 4-0.
No way.
Sure did.
Yeah. I was one of the losses. It was new versus Aurora, and it was like time was called, and I could have probably figured out a game state if the game kept going to like win it, but I was at 1, and he was attacking me with persuasive prognosis, and I was just like, you know what? Oops, no blocks.
You
I suddenly
persuaded
forgot how
me.
to put. I forgot how to put card in front of card. It was very persuasive.
Well,
So yeah.
there may have been a little assistance. I mean, he's a new player, so obviously we were, looking over the shoulder, teaching him how to play for the armory, and things just happened to line up to where he won. But there was also the added incentive of a bet that he and our other friend made, where if he won the armory, there was a payout of $100 on the line. So, not saying that had anything to do with the fact that he won. I'm just saying money changed hands after the armory.
Sounds like it was a little rigged. However, like
no, of course
who put a new guy on a mystic hero? Those heroes aren't easy.
He wanted to play it.
Yeah,
he wanted to play an assassin, so knew it is.
Yeah.
It was the alluring desire.
Oh yes,
she
is very alluring.
Siren's call, you would say.
We're gonna have lots of card puns.
Oh, we not already? Is that not our thing?
Yeah.
I thought that was our thing.
That is part of the show.
So, do we want to do some of our usual stuff before we get into Battle Hardened storyline, or do we want to do it now since it's kind of a recap of our past week?
I feel like people tune in for the market minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
People want to hear about what's going on.
We'll jump into the money, and then we'll roll back a little bit to Battle Hardened Atlanta.
Man, money is wild. So I didn't look at the market at all. Now, obviously, I've been back from California since an episode, but I haven't looked at the market last week. I really didn't look at it when I was out in California, but I looked at it today quite a bit, actually. And I had one goal in mind. I mean, there's lots of things that were going up, and I could still talk about Stamp Authority, and people actually reach out and they go, oh, I should have jumped on this or that. So I'm talking to you guys today, okay? You know who you are, Will. Listen up, okay, and take some advice. But I was thinking I got to come out with some hot, like, you know, I can't even think of the word right now. Not process. What do I always call it? Speculations. Man, why can I not think of the word? But I've got some hot speculations because I was like, we got to start thinking smart for the future, and I got some. But let's talk about some of the obvious things that are going on right now. We've seen some reveals. We're going to talk about some of the spoilers. They've come out. Obviously, they've thrown some things through the roof. Some of these should not be a surprise, and so we're going to get through them really quickly. We can always just flash the card up so we have more time to talk about Battle Hardened or whatever, or you can always just take a look at it. But right off the bat, Glint the Quicksilver's going up. We got a new warrior in the meta. Glint targets any weapon, gives it go again. Should be pretty solid. Nobody should see this coming. You're not going to see too big of a price increase on the normal. Glint the Quicksilver is a $5 Majestic right now. That is up from its like, you know, under $1 or $2 type thing that it's been at. It's slowly been creeping since Fang got announced. Now it took a little jump with the dagger because people are like, oh, I'm going to be swinging a lot with this dagger and I want to draw a card. You do want to draw a card for free on Reprise, that is. And so it's time. Mainly, you're going to be paying your tax on rainbow foils for that. They're about $22, $25. In the past, when dual wield was really, really popular and Glint was up, it was up at the $35, $40 range for the foils. So that's really where you're going to get taxed heavily at. You want on non-foils, you're fine. Probably won't get any higher than 10. But that should be a pretty obvious one. Now, one that everybody should see coming, Tome of Imperial Flame. We've talked about this before. It shot up originally when it was announced. It shot up again. It is at $80. In fact, it was $85 when I looked earlier today. It's back down to $77. You should expect this card to top out close to $100 if they are successful. There's just no way around it. There's going to be lots of Draconic. I think the card is going to be abused. In majority of the decks, I think it's synergizes well with the chess piece. That's also still at the same price. So you don't have to worry about that going up. But you definitely want to look into getting your Tome of Imperial Flames early rather than later. I assume, and you guys would probably know a little bit more, but Syndra, Fang, Fi, all of them can run that card and run it successfully.
Their playlines actually like use it now that we've kind of started seeing more cards come out for them too. So that might be why we've seen it surge.
Tome is nuts. We did 2 test hands and we're like, all right, that's enough of this. It's so good.
I figured as much. So you definitely want to grab that. Along those same lines, you're looking at Double Strike going up. It's at $8 right now. I think that's probably goes up to about 10, maybe caps out at 15. Double Strike seems to be on the rise. Now, note these are also people speculating, people picking up cards because they want to try things. Along those same lines, more targeted towards Arachne and some of the play lines that he gets with the Brood, or they get with the Brood, is Infiltrate. I think we mentioned this 1 or 2 episodes before. We were like, oh, this might be a time for Infiltrate to actually get some value. Infiltrate is a stealth card, does not naturally have Go Again. And so Infiltrate has shot up. I would not be surprised if that card continues to climb. It is currently at $9 right now. And I would not be surprised to see that go higher. Let's see here. Flick Knives. We talked about this, I think, last week. We just checked. Yeah, we checked in on that. And now that I think people have gotten rules clarifications, and we will talk a little bit further about why Flick Knives is so good with the dagger reveal for Syndra later on. But there's a lot of shenanigans that you can do with those daggers and Flick Knives. So Flick Knives aptly has gone up to $72 as a rainbow foil. That is right. That is wild, because I thought 40, 50. I was like, that's pretty good. That handpiece is pretty good. But the market said,
there's only
hold it.
2 of them at that price range, by the way. It goes up another $10 after those 2 get scooped up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both foils are at 130
to 100. Like, it's
card's good, guys.
Card's good.
Maybe it's time to start cracking some outsiders.
Oh, outsiders has some money cards.
We're all pretty sure Flick Knives was going to get used, but now seeing some of these cards, it's like the zero is built around Flick Knives.
And it's
Seems
like,
like it.
what are they even going to print for a legendary? Like, I have no clue. Just like seeing
Draconic
cards and seeing how
boots.
the heroes work.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's gotta
say
be like,
boots probably. I think black techs aren't necessarily a one fits all. Now they are really good boots. I don't think anybody should sleep on black tech. Black tech I think has battle worn. They're pretty easy to recur in
no,
in
black
terms of
tech
cost.
for black tech for assassin makes like,
Sorry for ninja.
perfect sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm talking
for
about the draconics in
warrior,
general.
like if you make it draconic, then you're telling the dual wield warrior to not play dynamos, and that's like,
Oh, that's
big
true.
deal.
Dynamo
Yeah, who
shouldn't
knows?
necessarily be the de facto though. You know what I mean? I feel like there might be a boot where you get a little more. Look,
No
I know
way.
Dynamo's value is
No
crazy.
way.
Trust me. I understand as a
Dynamo
warrior
value is
player.
Dagger's Warrior is gonna
insane.
play Dynamos. There's just no way you don't play Dynamos.
Surely you got like that. If you're playing Fang, that's gonna be like the first card you put in, right? Then you put in your draconic daggers and everything else. Like you start there.
Wait, do you put Dynamo in before Sync Below?
Yes.
Yes.
Crazy
For
enough.
Fang, yeah, for Fang. If for Fang, yes.
It's a
But
card
so
that
Sync
starts
Below
with
is like
blade
cards
says
2, 3, 4.
gain 1 life or more every turn as long as you swing your 2 weapons.
Just says nice breakpoint deck, idiot.
Dynamo is at 105. I would see that go up. I mean, when Dynamos were hot, when they were flavor of the month, they were 150, 60, 170. A lot of Monarch out in the market though, so might not rise as high as we think. But I would definitely say 140, 150 is a comfortable price range for that to head up to. Tiger Stripe Shuko, another hand piece that you should have, or arm piece that you should have on your list for ninjas. It's sitting at 63. Just a little bit of a spike. It was around the 50 range. It was already being used with Zen, so not necessarily anything new there. Same kind of realm. The next card, we always talk about Warmongers. I think each one of these heroes now coming out can use Warmongers effectively without being punished. So it's just three new decks that are going to be running Warmongers. That's currently at $82.
I think
don't
the
know that for
warrior.
sure.
I think the warrior is gonna have non-attack actions. they play.
Guys, stop running Warmongers. We'll talk about it later, but stop running the card.
We'll see. Warmongers. I put Warmongers on there just because I think at 82 everybody should have that. Blood of the Drakai. We're not gonna really talk about it. It's out there. It's not going anywhere. I don't know if anybody's gonna do anything silly with that, but don't go crazy on your Blood of the Drakai yet. It's not high. It's still $51 as a rainbow foil. I say that lightly because that is still really high compared to where it was for its entirety of its existence, pretty much, as it hasn't been used. But you definitely want to maybe take a look at it. And then kind of gimmicky, not really gimmicky cards, but cards that synergize, like Stab Wound. They're $8 right now. And so, yeah, Stab Wound, people are trying to figure out a way to fit it in. But I think that's more of like a speculation. Just get the card. Then people want to play test it. It might not make the final cut. We don't know yet.
I think these decks are gonna
Can I
be
give
pretty
you a
red,
spec?
and I don't know if Stab Wound fits in.
Stab Wound
Can I
seems
give you a
really
spec?
good in Syndra.
I want Knives Out.
We'll see.
Knives Out. We've talked about Knives Out is I think
'Cause that
still
could be a 0 for 4 in blue.
Knives Out could be pretty strong.
Yeah,
it's currently at $8. So Stab Wound, Knives Out, they're about $8 a piece. They're I mean they're up. I mean
Dagger.
those cards haven't
Dagger,
seen
break daggers, Knives Out, get daggers back, dagger.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, dagger, blood. Break all your daggers, bring them right back. Dagger, do whatever else.
Flick knives.
Some other magical card that brings it. Yeah, like, it's gonna be really good. Knives Out. I don't care how red heavy that deck's gonna be. You're playing Knives Out. It's so good.
And then I got my speculations. Before that, though, I want to keep pressing on this. Sync Below hasn't gone up. We're not going to talk about the price of Sync Below just yet. I did go find Sigil of Solace randomly. I go through TCG. I go usually by best selling. And it really struck me that Sigil of Solace was close to a $2 card. Now, granted, I understand that, $2 is $2. That's not the craziest thing. But again, this falls into that same line of thinking that we've been talking about with the Fates, with the older cards. Guys, these are WTR cards. You're paying $7-8 for a foil sigil from WTR Unlimited, and that set is going to continue to get harder to get. So I just this runs that same gambit along with Sync Below, that we will see a steady increase in price. And like I said, I'll add Sigil to it. Sigil could be close to $3 to $4 by the end of this year, and I think Sync Below will be too. A $5 common.
Do you think
from
Sigil?
WTR.
Do you think Sigil will ever get that expensive? Because you could always just buy the Dromai Blitz deck, which I'm pretty sure is readily available. Pick up a pair of sigils from that. I doubt it'll ever get that expensive.
I also think you have a hard time pushing the Rainbow Foil price of Sigil up a ton because you have the alt art ones.
True.
So it's not
True.
it's not like your max rarity one, but $1.50 for Sigil and non-foil is insane to me.
That to me, yeah, that feels crazy to me, guys. Like
that's crazy.
That felt like when I looked at Precision Press Blue that day and it was $3.75, and I was like, what is happening? Because things like that just shouldn't happen.
Thing is, there's barely any of them on the market. Like if you go and look at Sigil of Solace, it's funny because there's not an extreme amount of them.
I think people keep play sets. They don't want to switch them through decks. These WTR staples, people don't sell them a lot. If I had 15 Sync Belows, I tell you, they're not on the market. They're for 5 different decks. One per deck. They're for 5 different decks because nobody wants to switch your Sync Belows. Let's be real.
There's only 105 Sigils listings. It's not that many.
Yeah,
I'm not talking. It's not including the promo ones, but I'm just talking about standard Sigil Solace, black border or white border. There's only 105, which is kind of wild to think about. Of all the people selling cards, only 105 people have Sigil Solace in stock still.
It is crazy. Now, for a little rapid fire, this is speculation. I'm going to start off real crazy, and then we're going to get a little bit more modest. Hold the Line, I think, should be on everybody's radar. I know that there are cards that have been taken away that draw cards. That's totally fine. We've got Tome coming back into the meta. Okay, people are going to be drawing cards. I don't think card draw cards are dead. They just need to be balanced. Hold the Line is criminally low at $5. I saw it and I was like, wait a minute. This thing was $20, $25 when everybody and their mother was drawing cards. That's criminal, guys. Get you some Hold the Lines now. Seriously, because we know how these meta-driven defense reactions go. They will go up. Good time for Hold the Line. Don't have to go too crazy on it. Definitely that. I have a little kind of sneaky one. I don't know if there's any Warrior lovers out there waiting for Olympia. The adult Marvel. Okay, that's right. The adult Marvel is $67. That's criminal.
That's low.
Get you an adult Marvel Olympia. I'm serious. Come on. It will be playable one day. You do need to pick that card up. It's free bling. 67 is not that bad for an adult Marvel hero. Let's be real. Card looks really cool. That guy's going to have some gimmicks. I know that LSS isn't going to let us down. They've got things planned for Olympia. I can feel it.
More gold.
Yes. Yeah, it's the payoff.
Gold is the payoff.
Just keep shipping it. Now for real speculations, Mischievous Meeps, I think one day is going to have the ceiling that everybody thought it was. Obviously, when Adult Benji comes and I get what I want, Mischievous Meeps will be the most broken card in the game. So you need about 500 of those. Yes, at least.
So when you play a Meeps and you hit with it and you draw another card that does 2 damage, and then your opponent goes, oh, that's cool. I'm just going to deal you 25.
Yeah, but what if I draw your Meeps and you draw Meeps, and you're cycling through your cards. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of damage.
And they're gonna unban Art of War too, right? So.
Right. So we're getting a lot of things. But the main ones, guys, I figured it out. There is absolutely no reason to not sell out right now. Fully speculate on Guardian. Okay. Visit the Goldmane Estates, 99 cents. Starstruck, $3.84. They are criminally low. There's low. Yes. Wow. There is no way, guys, that Guardian cards sit low when that Mastery set comes out. It does not matter what happens, what the end result is. When that speculation first hits, they're all going to go up. We all know that Victor Goldmane had a nice kind of place in the meta. Now, I know he wasn't really, on top. Definitely was kind of just there gatekeeping some other decks out. But we know that the Guardian set is going to fix some issues. Even Golden Sun is very low. These are all cards that have a very higher ceiling. I think you should be looking at that. All Guardian cards. Betsy, drink them under the table, bet big. Guardian will eventually come back. I think the Guardians will be good. There's no reason not to pick these up cheap. Along that same line of thinking, go get your tech low cards. I will stand on it. You must make that man good someday. Annihilator engines are criminally low. Terminator tanks are criminally low. Those are your speculations. You know what I'm talking about. Go out there. You'll see them. Wait a minute. That card's that cheap. It is. Go pick it up.
In summary, go buy your bad Majestics.
Yes.
Before they're good.
Yes. That's how you do it. So, Will, I'm talking to you out there. Don't sit on it. I'm not going to either. Okay. We talk about it all the time. I wish I would have done this. I'm like, yeah, I wish I would have done too. I'm going to go buy me a bunch of Starstrucks.
All right.
A bunch.
Hearing your little rant just put a tinfoil hat theory into my head. With how they pushed back the Guardian Mastery Pack, do you think they were just waiting on new to LL before that thing hit? So that Guardians would actually be relevant to the meta?
Unfortunately, I can buzzkill that one. There's a different reason.
Oh, well.
I was going to be Smash Palace.
I was going to sell out with you the whole time and be like, absolutely. They want to ride that market up.
But, oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. They're wanting new to rotate. Yes.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're wanting new out. Yes.
I think Jarl's pretty good. So Guardian's at least playable.
One Guardian's at least, but he's not, to me, don't everyone take this wrong, he is not a Guardian's Guardian.
What do you mean? He plays exactly
He's
like...
got ice and earth. I'm talking about big, burly, blow him up. I'm visiting my estate. I'm putting out my tokens and I'm slamming homes.
You think all that stuff is cute until you get an Ice Quake Command and Conquer thrown at your face. And then you're just like, oh, that's a Guardian.
Let me look at the number of Guardian cards I have in my actual Guardian deck right now. It's pretty low.
I was gonna say, I know he's got big attacks. Like, I want my big burly Guardians. Okay, I want my Betsies, my Bravos. I'm not even a Guardian player. I do want to see them. I actually really don't, because Guardian's awful for Warrior, especially Dawn Blade. But that's okay. You guys deserve to have your time too. I'm okay with that. Maybe I'll play Betsy or something like that. It seems okay. It seems fun. But I wanted to give you guys some speculations, and that's free real estate. So take my word on it. That's free. Especially Starstruck.
Don't sleep on Jarl, Noah. He's gonna show
I'm not gonna
up.
Sleep on it.
You're gonna be like, this guy's nothing.
It's just Jarl can't use Starstruck.
And then he's gonna play Ice Quake, and you're gonna get a Frostbite in one of your empty equipment slots. And then he's gonna play Command and Conquer for 9 on hit, get another Frostbite.
I think I played 5 back-to-back Jarls as Azalea. I didn't win a single one, and I don't like the hero, but it's okay. Like, I get it. I know Jarl is good. I don't like playing against the hero. I just don't consider him like here's him as a Guardian, and then I feel like the Guardians are like a little more Guardian. Just a little.
You're just like offending old him stands. Like,
that's okay. I didn't like old him either, so there's a bias there.
Let's put it this way. The number of Guardian cards I'm playing, and this is including Frozen to Death, and Oakenold is 12.
Yeah, the good ones.
And that's it.
Wow.
I'm playing Terror Thunder, Opposing Visage, Frozen to Death, Oakenold.
Well. Starstruck just isn't good enough anymore for us.
Oakenold is crazy. So
Oakenold's a hell of a card.
Good. Oakenold's a good card.
It's a great card.
Frozen to Death just happens to have a Guardian tag on it.
But that's what I got.
Buy Guardian stuff.
Buy your Guardian stuff and buckle in. And that's also a pun, because I think buckle's like $7 right now too. Don't know why it's so high, but it's also from Dynasty. So who could use some buckles? Why not?
I love buckle.
All right, story time. I was promised story time. I want to know what happened. Justin.
Okay, so we want to do story time then.
Story time.
Absolutely.
All right.
Go ahead, buddy.
Battle Hardened Atlanta. Donnie, you were there as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we were both there. Yeah, we were both there. We didn't get an official room breakdown, did we?
I never saw one.
Yeah.
I've been looking for it. I haven't seen it.
Vibe of the room, I want to say most played was new.
Interesting.
That's what everybody else was talking about too.
Yeah, I think most played was new, followed up by Rune Blades. Not any one Rune Blade in specific, but like, if you told me that 8% of the room was Vincent and 8% of the room was Viserai and 8% of the room was Aurora, I would believe you. Like, it was a very, very even split among the Rune Blades. I didn't see a lot of Florian. That was the only one I didn't see. Of the Rune Blades, I didn't see a lot.
That's because he himself kind of hates playing against the other Rune Blades.
Yeah, true. So
Played against 2.
2 Florians. Oh, nice. I didn't run into any of the Florians. I somehow missed them. And then I didn't
Because they were in the losers bracket with me, obviously.
Dude, you had a pretty good start. So you go
I
first.
had a good start, and then I got anyway. I don't.
You go first. You go first. You go first.
Okay, fine. My Battle Hardened Atlanta experience, I ended up 34th out of the 127-ish players, somewhere in that neighborhood, with
Good
a record of
size.
4-2-1. Started off 2-0. I went through a DO after having to get the tournament organizers to actually put me into the event. They paired me up against the bye, and I played against a DO, so I really hurt his feelings because he had the bye, and then he got steamrolled by New. Then in round 2, I played against a Riptide, and that was one of the scariest games that I could have been paired against because he was literally full pile, trap-based insanity, and I ended up going to 1 against his 1, and just thinking with every card I played, I'm gonna die. This is it. This is the last turn. And then eventually I managed to keep 2 cards, and I managed to get over and put him into Kadachi lock, and GG's. I got him.
Let's go.
So, woo, 2-0.
Big
And in
win.
round 3, I get paired against the first of the 3 card guys that I played in the event. Seriously, I played 3 out of 4 card guys. The first one was Nathan Crawford, who was playing Zen. He went on to second place, so
Yep.
unfortunately, that's where my draw came from. See, I thought I understood the rules of what happens when you go to time. Nathan had that game locked up. He absolutely had that game locked up. I was on the back foot. I managed to survive when the judge sat down at the table when time was called and then eventually said that turns were started. But I was deep in the tank trying to figure out what I was going to do to try to survive. And I didn't really catch what he said, but then Nathan asked me if I heard him say that time was called, and I was like, yeah, we're good. So Nathan finishes his turn, I block out, I managed to narrowly survive. I play my turn, I swing dagger, he's at like 7 life, he no blocks, naturally. And then the judge looks at both of us and says, this game is a draw. And
Oof.
yeah, my face falls, because I'm like, wait, huh? Wait, what? He's got 1 more turn, doesn't he? Nathan has 1 more turn, right? He gets to kill me? I'm dead. I lost this game. There's no freaking way. I didn't want to draw. I would have conceded had I actually realized that he wasn't going to get a second turn. I thought the way it worked was active player, other player, and then active player gets 1 more chance. That was what I thought. That's what I was playing towards.
Yeah.
And I was 100% about to concede that game because I was going to no block on that last turn. But anyway, the game was a draw, and I was extremely tilted. I mean, I was all kinds of messed up. My head was not in the right space, and then immediately my next round was against an extremely aggressive Florian player, like old Viserai with Rosetta Thorn kind of Florian, like balls to the wall aggro kind of Florian, and I get steamrolled, just absolutely dog pile steamrolled. My head. I was in such a bad mental space that I even forgot to present AB, but my opponent was gracious enough to roll a dice to give me the opportunity to present it instead. It came up positive, so I got to play my AB. Okay, shout out to this guy. His name was Alex, and he plays from South Georgia. I cannot remember the name of the shop that he played at. I would love to reconnect with him because this was honestly one of the coolest individuals I have ever met at a card game tournament. Okay, because after he steamrolled me, I mean, and he knew that I was in a bad space because I explained to him what had happened in the round before. And after the game, he offered to get up with me and go walk so we could kind of clear our heads. And, we took a walk around the room. We went over and he bought me a drink and some food, and we sat down and we just talked it out. And for the next however long until the next round was, he sat with me and he chatted with me and he helped me get back into a good mental health space. I've never had an experience like that before, and I guarantee there's no other TCG where that would have happened. The opponent stands up, walks away, and you never see them again. This man, I lost the game, and I lost the game in spectacular fashion. But he was compassionate to the point where it really meant something to me, and I really appreciate you, Alex. If you ever happen to listen to this, thank you so much for that.
A lot of stand-up people in Fab.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
We have some really good people.
Absolutely. I mean, dude was incredible. After that, I put my game face back on. I went into a second Florian right there in a row. This one was a little more mid-rangey, and we also went down to 1-1, but I managed to sneak that one out. Then in round 5 at this point, I played against Ed Knight on Jarl, and that went about as well as you expect a Jarl versus new game to go. I think I threw CNC 5 times in that game in the first 5 turns, something like that. It was not nice.
Do we
It
love
was not a
Codex?
nice game. Yeah, Codex was rude, and I think I had Siren's Call on the turns where I didn't Codex. It was a high roll from Hades. It was bad. Then in round 6, let's see, round 6 might have been Ed Knight. Yeah, round 6 was Ed. And then round 7, I played against Josh. Josh Lau from the Card Guys on Dawnblade Dory. And I want to say that one was close, but it really wasn't, because he was technically in single digits when I died, but I was also down to nothing but chi and a few blues here and there, so it was over. And yeah, that was my event. 4-2-1. I lost to the Florian, and I lost to Josh, and I drew with Nathan. So I went 1-1-1 against the Card Guys. So that's my claim to fame for the weekend. I went 1-1-1 against the Card Guys.
And no harm, no foul
I'll
for
take
that draw, because he ended up, going to finals versus another great player, Naeem. So spoilers.
Yes, and I was so happy to see that.
Zen
Like, you have
versus
no idea.
Zen
I
finals.
apologized so many times. I apologized
You did
so
it.
many times to Nathan. It made my freaking day when he didn't bubble, when I didn't cause him to hit that bubble again, you know?
He
Speaking
crushed
of
the
bubble,
event.
though, we had another close by friend barely get bubbled out, and he was on Dash.io of all heroes. Aaron Cuthbert, congratulations on your 9th place. Sorry you didn't quite make it, man.
Dude, he went 5-0 into 5-2.
Hmm.
And it was just heart-wrenching, because I was just watching him play this Enigma, and he had it in the bag. Like, I walked by his game state, and I was like, all right, this game's done. And then I walked back, and it's just kept going on. And I was like, how? I felt so bad.
I mean, that's what can happen. Sometimes Dash.io can sometimes squeak out games that she shouldn't, but other times, you boost your reds and you draw your blues, and you don't quite get enough break points to push that last couple points of life before you run out of deck.
Yeah. But he had a crazy run, and he did really, really well. So shout out him. All right. My run. So I played Viserai. Played the Rune Chanty, 3 Blessings of the Occult, 6 Malefic Incantations, read the runes. I was still playing Rune Blood Barrier after the event. I think I would cut that card, but it's close. That card's just okay. I was between that, Aurora, and Jarl. I was kind of prepping those 3 decks. Jarl just had issues with what I thought the room was going to be, which was a lot of new and Rune Blades. And I didn't feel comfortable with the Jarl plan that I wanted to present into the Rune Blades. So he got nixed pretty quickly. And Aurora's just kind of like a comfort pick. So, but I've been prepping Vestamos, so I was like, all right, I'm going to play this. The night before, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do the Super Armory thing just to get like paper reps under my belt. And I Runeblade handed as hard as I could Runeblade hand for 4 straight games. I had my first game that night was against Vincent, and it went to fatigue, and it was an actual, no, it was not a draw because I won because I could Reaping Blade him. But like, we both presented 60 cards, and we could not do 40 points of damage to each other.
That's so interesting.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
He had like, I want to say like 12 real cards, like normal, not blood deck cards in his banish zone. It was like that kind of game.
Wow. Yeah.
It was like one of the strangest games I've ever played. But I couldn't kill him. Like normally they Runeblade brick that bad, and it's like, oh, well, the other guy just kills him. I couldn't kill him. Like I would draw a hand of like Runic Reckoning, Succumb, Ninth Blade, something with no rune chance out. So I was like, oh no, this is all terrible. So I had stuff like that happen the night before, and it was so bad that I almost audibled off of Viserai. And I was like, all right, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to roll a dice, we're going to see what happens. Roll the dice, it said play Viserai. We played Viserai. Round 1 is against Vincent. Guy's name is Cole. Really nice guy. This one was a weird one too. We both kind of Runeblade brick back and forth, but he was also playing a really defensive version, so we wound up playing like a 12-turn game. I won with my second to last attack action in deck. It was just really, really tight because both of us kind of bottom 40% drawed plus playing defensive cards. He was on like Arcane Polarity, which kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, oh no, I gotta deal with that card now. So, but we did get there eventually. It was 1-1. We got into this like late game state where I'm like pitching, making a rune chant over and over again, and he's like just barely getting rune gates off. It was a really interesting game. It was actually a really, really fun one. So that was round 1. We do end up getting a W. That was fun. Round 2 is a Jarl. This guy named Nicholas. I think he went by Nick. He was playing some cool cards. He was playing like Yellow Icequake, and he was playing Yellow Winter's Bite and a couple other things. And he put me to 1. He Oakenrolled 4 of my Malefic Incantations to the bottom of my deck. So I had to like go back through my deck again to get them and like shuffle it up and all that kind of stuff with Galaxy and all that. But yeah, we squeaked it out. I built, I think, 30 rune chants, and then I played Mordred, Creeper's Revel, the whole entire thing, and then
That's a pretty tough matchup for you, I would say, especially if the Jarl knows how to approach it.
Yeah, so I'm actually really scared of the version of the deck that the card guys brought. It has a lot of really good tech for the matchup. I was testing it a little bit, and where Jarl was a free matchup if they're not on the tech, which there's a Guardian card that destroys auras that are on the board.
Smack to reality.
Yeah, it's the LL tech. So you just like run that back with some other cards that you can play. And that version really scares me, because then if they ever go crumble and they have a smack in their whatever that place is, the arsenal, they can just throw it at you and you can just die and lose like 30 rune chance and the game's just over. So when we were testing it, we're like, all right, if we see crumble, we got to go. He never crumbled me. I was like, thank God he doesn't know the objective. And we got there. So that was round 2. Round 3 was an Azalea. I got deck checked. And I'm borrowing a lot of cards for this event because obviously House Fire, all that kind of stuff. I haven't rebought my collection. And some of my cards were double sleeved and some of them weren't. And the poor judge who like did my deck check, he like pulls me off to the side. And I think he actually like flew over from Japan. And he's like trying to speak in like the best English that he can. He's just like, I checked deck, card not match. Your deck? Like he's like trying to ask me like, is it my deck? I'm like, no, I'm bar. And then eventually another judge comes up and like starts talking and explains what was going on. I was like, no, okay. So they're very generous, they're very gracious, and they let me just like unsleeve those cards because it was clearly random. It was like a Runic Reckoning, a Revel, a Deadwood Dirge. It was things like that. It was like, it wasn't like all power cards. It was just like random stuff. So luckily they let me unsleeve it or undouble sleeve it. We shuffle up, we play, and then I just get Azalea'd to hell and back. Holy crap. Like, it was an Azalea game. I tried to keep the math close, but I got smoked. And he played it really, really well. I want to give like that Azalea player. Like he thought through his lines very well. It's another South Georgia guy. I was really impressed with the South Georgia guys on the weekend. They played really, really well, and I hadn't seen any of them around before. And now I want to like test with them a bunch more. They were all also super, super nice. So I get Azalea'd, and then the next round I play a Bravo. And I'm like, oh God, it's Bravo. That means that he's playing CYB.
Yeah.
Right? Because why else are you playing Bravo? When the die roll go first and make some rune chants. We go to, and he flips up tech plating. And I'm like, that's a little weird. But whatever. Like, I'm like, okay, like maybe he's just like, he didn't bring Tunic for whatever reason in the matchup. He just wants to have extra armor to stop the turn because like the average turn doesn't matter. You're not doing math. And then we go to his turn. And he's like, dude, check this out. And he goes, activate tech plating, pitching Grandeur of Valhai. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. And then he plays CNC. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll block 6 on the CNC. I don't see how this is funny. You're just going to pummel it. And he passes. And I'm like, okay. And then he heaves a Pulverize. And I was like, oh no. So I brought in all my like bad rune chant making cards to like spirit bomb this guy to win a game. And he's just like, no, we're going to play a 5-turn game. And I won because I drew Sink Below on the turn that I needed to have a Sink Below for the Crippling Crush, and let me keep a Mordred Revel, and we won the game because of that. But it was like, he got me totally off guard. I was like, oh no, we're in so much trouble. And it was awesome. I was just like, oh, this is, and it was a cool deck. So, but we did get there. That was round 4. Round 5 was a new, and this is a matchup I hate. I hate the new matchup. It's not a fun one. Luckily, I think I had more reps in the matchup than the other guy did. He put I could like clearly read that he had a D-React in his arsenal on like turn 4.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and once I like read that, I was like, all right, cool. We're just gonna hit the brakes, make a million rune chance, and then attack him again later.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did. But that game, I have the life totals here. Yeah, I won it like 6, but it was like, it was closer than like the life totals because like obviously deck matters a lot in that matchup whenever you do hit the breaks.
Yeah.
And I won with like, I think I won with like 6 cards left in deck. It was really, really tight.
It's tight.
A lot of won a lot of games where it was like, I am out of gas. If I don't kill them right here, I lose the game. So it was very, very stressful. But
Was it a CYB new or was it a version like mine?
this one was a regular new. He was playing E-Strike, which was the like indicator to me that he was on regular new. Because the CYBs are all playing Looking for a Scrap and Scar for a Scar right now. Or like some iteration of like other aggro cards that aren't E-Strike. So I was like, okay, this is an aggro new. So I was like, or not aggro, but like regular tempo-y new. And I was like, all right, we're just gonna try to play a normal game. And once we got to punish the Fate for Scene, I was like, all right, cool. We're gonna see if we can get there. And we did. The next game was against Josh. And holy crap. He's playing Dory, and I'm sitting down, and I'm like, oh god, I'm about to get Dawn Bladed. And well, some of our locals know. I am like, before that game, I was 2-13 in rated events against Dory. Like, and this is even while I was playing Oldham. Like, it didn't matter. If you just had Dory registered, you would hit the nuts, and then you would snowball the nuts over and over again, and just like keep your counter, and then win the game. And it just happened. So I was like, oh god, he's gonna Dawn Blade me, and I'm just gonna lose this game because it's Dory. This is what happens to me in rated events. And then we flip over equipment. He flips over Arcanite Skullcap, Jubil, and a bunch of other armor.
Yes.
I'm like, okay. And I had to read Jubil because I couldn't remember exactly what it did.
Oh, Josh.
And I'm like, okay, he's just trying to get value off of like extra Spellbane Aegis tokens because sometimes you won't get the double blade counter. Like, it's just making sure like he can stay up on math, sure, whatever. And then he plays a CYB, and I'm like, oh no. Like, I suddenly realized, oh crap, he is trying to like, well, not fatigue me, but like he has that option in his bag to just like slow the game down and block a ton and fatigue me. And I was like, oh no. I cited out my rune chant making cards because I thought it was a regular Dory, and I was panicked. But I had just enough Malefics left to like be able to develop a mini Spirit Bomb because I was like, all right, I have to Spirit Bomb off of Mordred Revel, and hopefully I can draw another like good rune chant making card. And that's like exactly what happened. I had 4 Malefics out.
Jeez.
We had Mordred.
Wow.
Well, at that point, I stopped attacking him.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Because
the second I saw the first CYB, I was like, all right, my hands are like, he's playing bad cards. Because I saw like D-Reacts and I saw like Oasis and other things.
Yeah,
like,
and he can't game you with
playing
Jubil. He can't game you. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
playing very honest.
Yeah, and honestly, when we were just like trading back and forth, the Jubil value was like actually kind of crushing me. I was like, oh no.
1 for 4? Yeah.
Yeah, and like every turn, just getting this, and because like a lot of my cards, they need like, well, if you've dealt arcane damage, do something, right? Like I needed a Rattlebones to have arcane hit because I needed the action point one time, and it just got, he just decided to use a Spell Void. I was like, oh, fuck. So I had to deal with that. But yeah, like it caught me off guard, but same situation. It was like, all right, we're gonna have to land on this, and it was like, Um, Mordred, Swarming, Revel, Deadwood Dirge, Birthday Cake. And I was like, all right, cool, we did it. But it was close. Like, it was not. I was really, really scared because if I did not kill him there, I don't think I have enough gas left in my deck to kill him.
So 3 and 13
So-
now into Warrior Unrated events.
Yeah, now we are 3 and 13, but I'm still 2 and 13 into Dawnblade. So
Oh, okay, that's fair.
yeah,
I was gonna, the
Yeah.
kicker there is
Yeah.
Dawnblade, because
It's-
like if you flipped over
Josh
Dawnblade, we might
only
have a
knew that
different story.
Dawnblade was your kryptonite.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, I've played Icelander into it. I've played Oldhim into it. I've played Bravo into it. Like, I've played so many of these decks where it's supposed to be like 50-50 or better, but for whatever reason, like, and I know the Dory lines almost like the back of my hand at this point. I've played against enough Dory, but whatever. Like, it just happened. So anyways, so we do get the win against Josh. We kind of luck sacked into it, so we'll take it. And then I play against Mara in my winning in, and she's on Vincent. And on turn, I make some rune chance on turn 0, and then she just passes. And we go to her turn. She just banishes a blood deck card and passes. And so, like, I stopped and thought for a long time there, and I was like, okay, she must be on like a defensive version of the deck, because otherwise, why is she like bricking on a full hand here? You know?
Sometimes you
even, like,
just do,
attacking
to be
you.
fair.
Yeah, sometimes you just do, but like I was like, okay, well, if you have enough non-attacks in the deck, you can make rune chance, or if you have rune gate cards, you could just play some of those from hand, right? Like, in theory, like, there were things that she could have done, but she just banished the rune gate card pass. I attack the next turn with like the Mo piece attacks ever because she just gave me a full hand back to attack with. But she played a haunting rendition on that turn, and I was like, okay, she's definitely on like the blocky Vincent deck. And at that point, I was like, I'm just going to make her life hell by punishing a D-React on Arsenal again. And that's exactly what we did.
Sweet.
And like, I just went like Malefic, Blessing of the Occult, I would go Deadwood Dirge Pass. I didn't attack her for like 3 turns. I killed her creepers by just like arcane burying things and blocking. And I was like making her life so awkward. And I felt like I could tell that like it was frustrating for her because it was like,
It's gotta be,
do
because
something.
if you got a D-React
Yeah.
in your arsenal, it's not unlikely that you're kind of drawing them in your hand. And Vincent can't really function those big turns you need to push through on 3-card hands, even with a healthy banish zone. Like, you need those big hands. Like,
yeah. And like, we just denied face value, did all that kind of stuff. We did all the things. And then we just closed the game out with like back-to-back Mordreds. It was like Mordred swarming something and then Mordred something. And we got there. So yeah. So we made top 8. This is my first Battle Hardened top 8, or tier 3 or higher, tier 4 or higher, tier 2 or higher. I don't know how
Congrats.
tiers work, but Battle Hardened.
Congratulations.
Battle Hardened or higher, so we'll take it. And then we get to the top 8 game, and my opponent is Randy Davis, and I'm going to shout out his actual name because he's the man. This dude started playing at the end of MST, and this is his first top. He's just like a magic guy, and I was like, this is sick. So I was so happy for him. He's playing Enigma. That matchup's really weird. It can be really good for the Viscera, but it can also just be awful. If they have like Ripple Away, if they Warmongers at a very timely time, that kind of thing. All that can happen. And they have some other things that can happen that are really, really bad for the Viscera. They have like Silver Bullet things that are like awful for me. So we're playing the game, and he's having to read my cards, so I can tell that he's not very experienced in the matchup. And on one of the turns, I play a Rattlebones, and he reads Rattlebones, and he's like, what does this card do? And he's like reading the card. And he's like, okay, cool, or whatever. And we keep playing out the turn. I make a joke, I'm like, yeah, if you have to read Rattlebones, like, you definitely weren't playing back in the day. This card used to be a big deal, yada, yada, yada. And then the next turn, the turn after that, I draw my hand up because I had just like hit the gas and I didn't have an arsenal. I draw out my next hand, Tunics at 3, I have 2 rune chance. My hand is yellow, Rattlebones, Blessing of the Occult, Blessing of the Occult. And I'm like, this is kind of ugly, but we're just going to play the Rattlebones. We're going to use the Tunic, do the things, yada, 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 right? I was like, all right. We'll just end on a Blessing of the Occult. We'll have some rune chance for next turn. We'll deal a little bit of damage, take some pressure on him. Because I'm like smacking him at this point. The life totals were really, really, really bad. Like it was like 25-10 at this point. I was smacking him. And so I go like, all right, play a Rattlebones. I get the thing, I activate the tunic, I play it. And he asks the judge, he's like, Judge, how does this card work with Rattlebones? And immediately I know he's talking about Passover because I target the thing. The Passover says target as well. It can get rid of my target and then totally fizzles Rattlebones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes this lengthy judge call. And so then the judge comes back and he asks me, he's like, all right, when you played the card, and he subbed in the middle of like a different ref was watching our game, right? Because it's top 8. They have a judge to each game.
Mm-hmm.
A different judge was watching our game. And then the head judge has to get involved and like explain how the cards work and all that kind of stuff. Because it's a weird interaction. If you don't know how it works, like, why would you? And the head judge comes back to the table and he's like, tell me everything that happened. And I'm like, all right, well, I know it's about what like you're looking for. Because I know the interaction that we're talking about. And I'm like, all right, I played Rattlebones. I looked at my graveyard for a target. I grabbed the target, put the target in my banish zone. I activated my tunic dice, took my tunic dice off, grabbed a different dice to put in to represent that I had resources. And then I played my Rune Flash. I've ticked all my Malefic incantations down. And now we're at the game state whenever he asked the question. And he was just like, did your opponent acknowledge anything during this time period? And I was like, I don't know, but I wasn't looking for it, and I took forever to find everything, right? So he decided that this was an unknown... One of the other judges explained it better later, but it is essentially like an unknown knowledge game state or something like that. And they rewound the game, even though there had been multiple game actions taken and more than like a minute and a half of game time between like me playing Rattlebones and him asking the question. And I was livid because I thought that was a terrible judge call. I'm like, sir, we are in the top 8 of the Battle Hardened. Can I appeal this? He clearly had enough time while I'm searching my graveyard, while I'm activating my tunic, while I'm playing the card, while I'm ticking down rune chance. Like, he has had ample amount of time to like deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
And like do that, right? Or like, and he's like, at any point there, he could have read his card and been like, hold up, I need to read something. You know? And he never said any, and he hadn't like acknowledged any triggers the whole game. And I'm not like trying to slander this guy. He was a really, really nice opponent. And he was actually really good. Like, he was a good player. He was very nice. We had laughs during the game. Like, before this happened, him and I were like laughing and trying to have a good time with the game. And after it happened, honestly, him and I kind of had a good time. But so this judge decides to rewind the game state to where I'm now playing the Rattlebones. Like, the Rattlebones is on the stack. And I can't even go back to like me not casting the Rattlebones. He was like, no, we're going to go to the moment where the Rattlebones is on the stack. And I was like, okay. And so he was like, yes, because I did not declare or check confirmation that the card Rattlebones had resolved, we were going back to the game state since he did not acknowledge it. So we go back to that game state. He obviously does the Passover thing. And it fizzles my turn. I have to Arsenal Blessing of the Cult pass. And he throws back one of the mopiest turns ever, but that's whatever. And at this point, I knew the life lead was big enough, and I drew up my next hand. I knew I was going to win the game. And so I decided that this game was no longer like me versus my opponent. It was me versus this judge. And every single trigger that I could have had, I asked my opponent if they could resolve. And right down to literally on the very next turn, right?
One rune chant at a time?
No, I didn't do one rune chant at a time, but I did do. I was like, I went, this is Runic Reckoning. Viscerai checks every single time that I play a Runeblade card if I've played another Runeblade card. Does the Viscerai trigger resolve? And he's like, yes, Viscerai trigger resolve. Does Runic Reckoning resolve? Yes, Runic Reckoning resolves. All right, I will play a Rune Flash now. Does Rune Flash resolve? Yes, okay. Does this Malefic Incantation resolve? Yes. Does this Malefic Incantation resolve?
Let's clarify. What was the chemistry with your opponent at this point? Is he laughing?
Oh, him? Yes, he's dying laughing.
Okay. Just
Honestly,
making sure we're not
yes.
taking the piss from your opponent, like
Yes.
we're.
I did feel bad a little bit because I could tell that like by the end, I think I did start booming like his mental as well. Like I did feel about that, and I did try to like grab him after the game and be like, dude, listen, you did everything that you're supposed to do. Like this is very fair on your end. Like I thought it was just a terrible judge call. That's not you. You're doing your job and doing what you can to win a game, and you just wanted to know an interaction. He told me he didn't even want the rewind. He was just like, no, I don't. Like, I just wanted to know how these cards work. But the judge chose to rewind it, and that was in the judge's prerogative. I talked with different judges later. It turns out how they handled it was correct. Shocker. Our judges know how to do the things correctly. But at the time, like I'm playing, and it just seemed like a ridiculous call. So I was just like, whatever. So for the next, because it took a while to kill him, because Enigma plays a million blues. It's Enigma. So there's just like 6 turns of me literally just asking if every single trigger resolves. And so like I kind of felt bad at one point, but I was just like, whatever, we're just gonna ask every single trigger. And all my triggers resolved, and we did eventually win the game.
Okay, so now you're in top 4.
I am in top 4. We made it to top 4. Playing naive on Zen, he's the higher seed.
I knew it was Zen.
Oh yeah, both top 4s. Andrew Lorenz and I have been working on this deck together a lot, and trying to like figure out the exact cards we wanted to do, like what's our plan for certain matchups, yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff. Like I think both of us were playing a 2 of Hocus Pocus, and we're the only ones who were playing them at the time that I know of. I think I'm the only person. I think we're the only 2 who have registered Hocus Pocus. But the Piss Right decks are registering it, but it's a good card. And both top 8s or top 4 matchups were Viscerai versus Zen, with the Zen being the higher seed, getting to pick who goes first. And if I got to go first in that game, I win the game.
Yep.
Like I had the hand. I had the like go first, make 8 rune chance hand. Arsenal, good card. And so I just had to do that on my opening turn. And he goes, okay, cool. Tiger body. Or is like just like chase the tail line. And then we played a game. And I wound up being in a situation where I had to block a lot. Like my hands were like block down, make rune chance pass a lot. Because I had to play around like Zen states and other things happening. But I had like one hand that I was like, all right, time to push. And I go some non-attack action, 9th blade, takes all the rune chance. He blocks 5 on the 9th blade with his hat. Yeah, with his hat at that point. It's like hat plus 3 block. And I go succumb. And he goes flick flack. I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. And then I had this amp in my hand. It was the last card of my hand, and I had enough rune chance to send it. And I thought long and hard about sending it right there, but I was so scared. I was like, if he Zen states me here, I just lose the game on the spot. I can't attack for 3 turns. I'm at 13. I lose the game. So I just passed. But that, letting him have that chi, let him do his 3rd chase the tail line. And I don't know what decision was correct. Him and I talked about it after the game. We think I took the right line. But it's hard. Like that matchup's just so hard. I could spend a lot more time on it. But yeah, but that was my run, and we made sure every single trigger resolved in that game too. It was great.
Good.
Even the judge started like the guy who rewound the game state. He was laughing about this as well. Like it wound up being like good fun, but I was so tilted when it actually happened.
Well, yeah, all of your friends standing around behind you were very, very worried about you after the judge call. Because we could tell that you were super tilted.
Well, good job keeping it together enough to win the game, get to top 4, and give Naive a run for his money.
Yeah. The worst part about that was like I looked at him and I was like, can I appeal the call? I think this is a bad call. And he's like, no, I'm the head judge.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, okay, you're the judge. Whoopsies.
Whoops. Yep.
So,
He's still
right
the judge. He's the head judge. He's made a bad call to his face.
I did. Yeah. I apologized to him later. I was like, listen, I'm sorry. Like, I still disagree with like the situation, but I could have handled that better, and you're doing your job. And I thanked him at the end of the tournament and all that. But yeah, that was frustrating to say the least. Because like when I've been testing, and I've been like testing with our Enigma game, like the Enigma gamers locally, literally every single time I play Rattlebones, I make the joke. I'm like, Passover check every single time. Obviously, I'm not going to say that in a top 8 game, but like, it was just one of those situations where I was like, I know this interaction is there, and I was so scared about it all this whole entire time. And I felt, part of me felt so justified about being scared about that interaction because it happened. But man, it was entertaining to say the least. Yeah.
Did anyone have any fun on Sunday? I didn't go because I overslept on Saturday like a dummy. Self-inflicted. I probably should have set a second alarm. And then on Sunday I went out and I couldn't find parking. A little bit my problem too. And there was like an NFL game like right next to there, and I just said, I'm not risking this. I'm just gonna go home. And so I didn't end up playing in the PQ Plus either. Did either of you guys play in the PQ Plus?
I work Sundays.
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was having to take care of other obligations on Sunday.
I think fellow teammate Andrew Lorenz did pretty well in both days. He made either top 8 or top 4 of Battle Hardened Atlanta, right?
He was top 4 as well. So the other side of the bracket was Nathan versus Andrew in top 4. And it was a really cool moment. Just like both of us playing our top 4 games.
Viscerai versus Zen was Zen top seed gets choose to go first. Okay.
Yeah. It was funny because like I look over at him and like at this point not nobody, but like we're trying to take the game semi-seriously. But like I could look over at Andrew, and if you've played with Andrew, you know when the game's not going well for him. So like, and my game's not going well for me either. So I just look over at him and I just like start talking shit about our deck and just being like, this deck sucks.
Sucks. Low ceiling.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, what do we do? I was like, are you dead yet? I'm dead right now. And he's like, no, I'm not dead yet. So yeah, but I don't know. All in all, Battle Hardened Atlanta was very fun. Shout out the judges and the TO Star City Games. We finished top cut by 7:15.
Yeah, I noticed. You guys wrapped it up promptly.
Yeah. That's nice.
Way better than the last Battle Hardened Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's with multiple rounds going to time because of like CYB news and stuff like that.
How many total rounds did you guys play? Was it 8?
7.
We played 7, and I have a few more shout outs. One of them is our local area in general. For the top 8 are literal locals that go to our armories all the time. Shout out Andrew Cook. Dude hasn't been playing for a little bit, but he's a Prism. He's really, really, really good at Prism, and he was the 1 seed.
Just go ahead and call it. He's a genius with Prism. That man is
Prism
phenomenal
savant.
with Prism.
He is a Prism.
He is a savant, and he is really, really, really good at the deck. And the other shout out I want to give is to Evan Rooks. He was the Azalea who top 8'd. He took a really interesting look at it, and he does something that sometimes it drives me nuts whenever he does it locally, where it's like he knows what everybody's bringing to an armory, so he'll bring a deck that kind of like targets it, and that can be frustrating sometimes, but it's a skill. And that is a skill that he practices a lot, because he brought Azalea, but he didn't bring Drill Shot. He didn't bring any other 0-cost arrow besides Endless Arrow. I think that was the only 0-cost.
I think that
he upped the blue count. And every single arrow was like one of the 1-cost on hit and like ruined your opponent's day cards. And because he was just like, everybody kept no blocking some of my arrows, so I just made all my arrows hell for people. And like, he made a really, really, really smart adaptation, and that was awesome to see. And I'm so happy it paid off for him.
Yeah, top 8.
Yeah, like that was really, really cool to see, because I hadn't seen an Azalea list like that before.
He's been playing that list locally for a few weeks now, and Battering Bolt hurts. Just FYI, just putting that out there to the world. Battering Bolt is not fun, especially when it's played like 4 or 5 times against you.
What, as the reaction deck, you don't like Battering Bolt?
No, I don't.
Absolutely not, man. I play Battering Bolt. I don't want
the
Battering
reaction
Bolt.
deck with instants. No.
Yeah,
no,
instants
I do
and
not.
reactions. You go.
Dude, they play Battering Bolt versus me, and I'm just like, hell yeah, brother, no blocks.
No
let's
blocks.
go.
And then Battering Bolt versus New goes, my hand sucks.
Yes.
Transcend, activate New versus Azalea. Yeah, die.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how
Yeah.
every game recently against his deck has gone.
that was Battle Hardened Atlanta.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. I think the next like event that a lot of us might show up to is going to be calling Memphis, the double calling, which is right after the Hunted comes out. There's going to be a limited calling and a classic constructed calling on the same weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to watch CC, you are going to get 3 days of CC in a new meta.
It's going to be a sweet
coverage.
calling.
That's pretty cool.
And man, I think there's gonna be a lot of red cards going around because the heroes seem pretty good from what we've seen so far. But I think we've unfortunately ran a little too long to try to get into the new daggers. We're gonna push that off to next week,
right?
By the time we talk again next week, the spoilers are
week.
gonna be crazy.
We can talk it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll give ample time. We'll have plenty of spoilers. It'll be fun. We'll keep it.
Next episode will be called Knives Out. How about that?
Oh,
loves it.
Yeah,
love it.
There we go. That's a good
I
one.
like it.
This episode will be Battle Hardened Atlanta story time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, sure, that checks out. All right, we got anything else, gentlemen, or we good to wrap it here?
Not yet.
Oh, but before you wrap,
I'm later.
Have you finished up your league that means nothing? I just thought about it because I'm doing a whole bunch of like online Discord leagues.
No, my next game I'm going to be playing tomorrow night. I don't know what my opponent's playing yet, but I'm locked into KO for the rest of the league. So I'm going to be anybody that's out there that wants to watch more absolutely terrible KO gameplay, come and find me. I will show you how not to play the deck.
I'm super excited because I signed up for a Living Legend league, so I get to play Florian and some more and throw giant amounts of rune chants at people. I got a league game for that either tonight or tomorrow night for Florian, so I'm stoked. I love that hero. I actually really love Living Legend format. So much fun.
Living Legend's sweet. It's a cool format. Yeah. I got nothing else.
Nothing else for me?
Cool. All right, Noah, where can everybody find you, buddy?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter, at Big Max on Blue Sky, opening packs behind me where my laptop's currently sitting playing RuneScape. And anywhere and around twitch.tv/Big Max. I'm hunting down some hunted packs too. Definitely gonna open that live. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So there will be some content coming where I'll rip them open on the YouTube channel. We'll have some fun with that.
Cool. Thomas, what about you?
You can find me at Wet System Fab on Twitter, at Wet the System on Blue Sky, Wet System on Discord.
Justin?
Jebs05 on both Discord and Blue Sky, and I gave up on Twitter because I don't know what it is anymore.
It's on the screen. I'll have to update your tags.
All right, it's whatever the one is on the screen. That's the Twitter, but Jebs05 everywhere else.
One more quick thing. Last week we talked about asking for mailbag questions. Did we actually get any comments?
We have
on that?
one comment, and I actually want to bring that up when we talk about spoilers and stuff next week. I think it's a pretty good comment. We could mention it and then re-hit it. It was a 2025 wish from a viewer about less draft chaff and sets. I think that's unfortunately a problem we're not going to get past now that we don't have sets that are 100% expansions like Dynasty. Even though we are getting Mastery Pack Guardian, which is maybe very focused. That's going to be
crack shuffle play.
We'll see.
They've figured out a really good model on how to make packs now.
Yeah, they are full of cards you don't care about. So a lot of times you're opening packs and thinking these are all bad, and then just moving on, especially if they're not the heroes you play. So I think that's a pretty cool topic to talk about. Like, if you're not aligned with the hero in a set, and you're chasing expansion cards that are only like 3 of in an entire box, it can feel pretty bad to open product, especially when it just went up in price too.
Okay, so we will touch on that next week.
Yep.
As far as I go, I am Draco Hominus 87 everywhere social media is sold. Also known as Donnie K on Card Gamer, where I've been writing the Budget Fab article series. The last one was Dory. I haven't chosen the next hero yet, but I did get clearance to dip into other formats, so I could do Blitz, I could do Living Legend, I could do any other constructed format that I want to. But I've also recently been tasked with writing the How to Play Flesh and Blood article for Card Gamer. So That is
Nice.
going to be a bigger project. It's going to take me a little while longer. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but I have started making notes and trying to put together a structure because it's going to be a big one. I'm going to try to do that type of article justice. You know what I mean?
That
Um,
sounds cool.
like I said, I'm in the league that means nothing. You can find me on Go Again Gaming playing KO. That game's going to be recorded tomorrow, and I'll have the results for it next week. If there's nothing else,
Nope.
all right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
You know, I've been sitting here waiting to do this the whole time. What you don't need a judge's call to resolve is pummel. You just discard the card. It's simple. You got hit by it. Resolution, you discard
don't
it.
even try to
No judge
appeal it
call
either.
Pummel
needed.
does resolve.
Like, come on. Put it in there.
Pummel resolves?
Take care.